history. From the high banks of Daytona today, where NASCAR just kicked off a new era, to the clay oval at Volusia, where the World of Outlaws proved once again why they are the greatest show on dirt. We've got a massive amount of ground to cover. We're talking legacy defying wins, shocking team swaps, and a last lap duel for a Big Gator that people will be talking about for years. So,
and strap in, everybody. It's Daytona week.
I'm Russ Fritz telling you to strap in tight because this isn't just racing. This is Switching Grooves.
Switching Grooves.
So, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. How are you? I'm excited that we finally got through the first week of the actual NASCAR season. Let the chase begin.
The 68th Daytona 500. Well, it was a slam dunk victory for 2311 Racing, and the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season opened with a dramatic intensity on February 15th, today, 2026, at the 68th running of the Daytona 500. Tyler Reddick, driving the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Racing, secured his first Great American Race victory in spectacular fashion, leading only the final lap to take the checkered flag. The win was a milestone for the team owner, Michael Jordan, who celebrated in victory lane as Reddick became the 25th different driver to lead a lap during the event. A new Daytona 500 record, Nathan.
Oh, yeah. Then trust me, you didn't want to miss this race. This was not our typical Daytona 500 from the last few years, and I'm actually kind of relieved because I got tired of the fuel mileage kicking right off the beginning of the race. So they waited a little bit, but it was a decent race, in my opinion. It was decent. I'll say decent. I'm still mad we didn't go three-peat.
The race reached a chaotic climax during the final laps, though.
Oh, yes. I will say that I have never seen a Speed Weeks, I mean, in general, of so many selfish drivers. It's the first time I've actually seen that in a while, of the drivers being selfish like that. I mean, Truck Series, nobody wanted to push anybody. They just all wanted to fight for themselves. Same thing happened in the ARCA Series. And then we had the same thing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And then, come down to the final lap of the Daytona 500, and it's just pure chaos. It almost gives you shades of the Truck Series race on Friday. 4 wide to the checkered flag, except this time they couldn't keep them straight.
Well, Chase Elliott appeared to have the win in the bag after taking the lead when Hocevar was spun for blocking, or spun while blocking, I take that back. And Reddick utilized a critical push from his teammate Riley Herbst to actually surge. He surged past Elliott coming off of 4.
We got to reel this back a little bit because there was somebody in that field that nobody had in play at the beginning of this race. Let's rewind to last year. William Byron comes out of nowhere and wins this race last year. This year, he crashes in the backup car, so shades of 2024. All the way to the back of the field. I think we get to lap 6 or something? Just like the Truck Series race. And we've got William Byron in the wall because BJ McLeod either blew a tire or had some sort of suspension issue. I haven't confirmed what exactly it was yet. But everybody counted William Byron out of the race. And then again, he hit the wall, tank slapped it going down the backstretch from a bad push from SVG. everybody counted him out then. I am very, very impressed that somehow he stayed in that field up to the white flag. Everybody had him counted out. Coming to the white flag, he was fourth. It might have been sixth actually, but it shows how much chaos can happen in a lap. William Byron ended up finishing 11th. Michael McDowell and Carson Hocevar were leading the field at the white flag, and they wrecked before they could get back to the start-finish line. Teammates finished, I think, 21st, and I forget where Carson Hocevar finished. But both cars, and neither of them made it back to the flag before the rest of the field, which is what we come to expect at Daytona anymore. But what I didn't expect is that I'm letting them race back to the green flag for the third race this weekend. After last year, there was controversy of them not letting them race back. This year, all three races race back to the flag, which I was very impressed with NASCAR. Right. They held their standard.
I'm all right with that. I mean, the crash was so far in the back straightaway, it wasn't going to matter.
And also, they wrecked in turn one. They let them race back after the first wreck in turn one. So, I mean, I was impressed they let them run back. I mean, heck, after the Friday race with the Truck Series going 4 wide after a wreck on the backstretch, I didn't think we were going to get another one. So I was very impressed that NASCAR, tied their hands and didn't push the button.
At least they're listening to their fans.
Yes, well, some of them are. Some people are still mad about the chase, but, I honestly think this is okay. And there were a lot of drivers who led the field who got points. I think Chandler Smith won the opening stage. Who is this guy? Like, we never see him up front win a stage, let alone the first race of the year. Yet he basically led, the majority of that end of that first stage. I was very impressed with how the variety came together. I mean, there is no winning you're in anymore. And stage points really don't do a whole lot anymore. So I was kind of impressed with the change in scenery, I guess we'll call it. Because, I'll bring this up now. Last year, and I think the year before that also, we had fuel mileage from the initial green flags to the end of stage one. We didn't have fuel mileage until the third stage today. I was very, very impressed with the racing. For once, we didn't have to save fuel the entire way through the first stage and race the rest of the way. Now, granted, NASCAR really can't fix that. That's all up to the teams. But at the same time, it did, make racing really boring before. Now you actually get the majority of the race, and then you get the fuel saving strategy at the end. If they can do that for the other races, I'll be okay with that. What is it?
NASCAR could fix it. They could give them a bigger tank.
Also get rid of stages, make them race till the end of the race.
But, that would have been the ideal thing to do.
Yes. But we're not NASCAR, so we can't make those calls. But I still think with what they had, it was a decent race. It was kind of boring during fuel stages, but then again, the different teams going down pit road definitely made up for the fuel mileage where they all had to split up at the end. I mean, honestly, I didn't think Byron was going to be up there at the end.
Well, I was actually just as, confused about how the Toyotas came off of pit lane as the guys in the booth were. Like, they were way too far apart.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
That's what took them so long to catch back up.
I will say the one thing that is really going to get somebody hurt is this coming off pit road and immediately trying to hold up the field. I distinctly have seen it multiple times. You just come off pit road and you just try to line yourself up and throw a block so you're in front of the pack before they can lap you. I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Somebody's going to get really hurt and you're going to wad up somebody's race because you came to pit road before them. I appreciate the strategy call, but there's no need to make aggressive blocks when you're about to go a lap down. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, maybe NASCAR needs to actually look at that, especially on the super speedways, and maybe make their blend line a little bit further down the straightaway.
I don't even think it's a blend line issue. I think if you're going to get lapped, go to the bottom. I mean, yes, I understand holding your line on some tracks, but there's no need to be all the way up in the middle groove while the pack is going around you. That's just not necessary. If you
I
know the
was
pack is coming and it's done on purpose to pull up in front of the field, I don't think that's necessary. I throw in the block just to break up lines doesn't make sense to me. That's going to get somebody hurt.
I liked how the lap down cars actually moved down to the apron and let the pack race on
I
by.
would
That was
I wouldn't even say move to the apron. I would just say move to the bottom line. Like, you can still be in the racing groove, but stay at the bottom. The field will have to go around you. But I don't understand jumping in front of the middle lane and creating chaos. You know, just because you're a lap down, you're going to try to break up the field so people can go, so you can try to catch up. That's just, you're a full lap down. You're not going to catch up on your own.
I
I
tell
mean, if
you
you're going to
one
stagger cars, you're just going to wreck a field.
one that had terrible luck today was Christopher Bell. He was doing so good, man, and just kind of got screwed there.
He has got
I mean,
screwed way too many times. I
if he
mean,
would have, when he came down from from the top line, he should have stayed in front of Bubba Wallace instead of going all the way to the bottom. He could have led that
yes.
race for a while if he would have done that.
I'm trying to pull up the final race results just so I can make sure my numbers are correct.
Well,
I
Ricky
mean,
Stenhouse got second place while he was crashing across the line.
and he had the fastest lap. I didn't catch that part. He had the Xfinity fastest lap in the process, which is insane to me that he did that. But yeah, with coming to the white flag, yeah, Carson Hocevar and Michael McDowell. Carson Hocevar finished 18th, and Michael McDowell finished 21st. Michael McDowell was
Oh,
leading the field. Like,
I was
that's
surprised that
insane. I mean, the only move that I really thought was a rookie move out of that entire field was Justin Allgaier. Because, I mean, it is a second field, and he threw that block on Denny Hamlin. I don't know if he just got sucked into Denny but from the arrow, but if you knew Denny was going to the outside, I call that just a late block. Like, that was just a
took
boneheaded move.
he took responsibility for it in his
It was just
post race.
crazy. I mean, just going through the
He
standings, we had from the drivers that have champ, because that was the big story going into this race, is champions that don't have a 500. Just in the top 10, none of them finished in the top 10.
there's
The
only
highest,
two champions that were in the field that don't have a 500 win.
well, there was Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson doesn't have one. Kyle Busch and Brad Kay don't have one. And I do see Brad finish fifth out of that. For some reason, I don't see these. Okay, so I'm looking at the results wrong, I guess. So in the top 10, there were two of them. They had Chase Elliott finishing fourth, Brad Keselowski finishing fifth. Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, ended up finishing 15th. It looks like he stayed on the lead lap, as far as I can tell. Yeah, he was on the lead lap. You had Ryan Blaney finish 27th. Oh, and Kyle Larson finished 16th. I missed that one. I mean, the front two drivers, Kyle Busch and Chase Briscoe, finished 15th and 36th. Chase Briscoe just had miserable luck today. I mean, he literally couldn't catch a break. I feel for some of these drivers because they can't keep consistency. And I think that's what's going to make this chase really interesting is really not every team can have a consistent season. They're like everybody has their shades of being great, and then they have a few bad weeks in a row. And you can't have that and win a championship. So I was actually kind of surprised with how the season started so far because there really isn't any consistency. And we've had Ford won the Clash. You have a Chevy and a Ford, the superstars, won the duels. neither of them actually did a whole lot in the race. I mean, Chase Elliott was leading and got wrecked. You know, Joey Logano finished third. He almost flipped into the fence with that crash. He hit hard. So, I mean, and then we have a Toyota wins the 500, which is like the first time in, like, I would think since Denny Hamlin, because I don't think any other ones have won it. But it's, crazy to me that we've had all three makes win different events over the course of this week. And really, Ford was probably the most put together the entire weekend. I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, when it came to the Truck Series, they were there. I mean, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, there's only one team that's decent at super speedways, and it's, RCR. And of course, Austin Hill wins that race. But I was very surprised with how Ford worked together throughout the course of this weekend, across the Truck Series, across the Cup Series. I'm trying to think if a Ford won I think a Toyota won the ARCA race with Gio Ruggiero, I think of his name. You got me mixed up with sprint car names. But I just, it was kind of a mix. Like, normally there's one make that dominates speed weeks, and this wasn't one of those weeks. So I'm kind of excited about that.
I don't know. It wasn't a bad race though, but it's
It was.
too bad that RCR can't get their shit together for the Cup Series.
They can dominate the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for some audacity. I can't figure that one out. They can't do absolutely anything in the Cup Series, but yet they can dominate super speedways like it's nothing. Like, you would think something would transfer over to do that, but apparently not. I will say it was a decent truck race, not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. It was decent, but the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series really started off the season with a bang. Before they even got to lap 2, they wadded them up, took the green flag and wadded them up on the front stretch. I mean, we have Fast Pasta, Anthony Alfredo misses the Daytona 500 on Thursday, gets in the ride for the Xfinity car or O'Reilly Auto Parts car on Saturday, wrecks on lap 1 out of that race, and they get 20 minutes from the shop, and the hauler gets in an accident. Dude cannot catch a break this weekend. He almost had as bad of luck as Christopher Bell did. Or actually, BJ McLeod, who made it, all of
6 laps?
All of 4 laps. It says he was 196 laps down. So he made all of 4 laps, which is the equivalent of what Anthony Alfredo did this weekend, I think. Actually, I think he completed all 125. Or how many miles they do, or how many laps they do in the duels. And that's all he got for the entire weekend, which is just insane to me. Although I will say Dude Wipe had some pretty good and funny advertising this week. Those hats were pretty good. And then they had a banner. There were some decent commercials this week. I wish Fox would not have as many commercials, but some of them were kind of decent. I'm kind of mad at it by tickets.
I think you miss a quarter of the freaking race because they have so many ads and commercials.
I mean, it doesn't help, and I made sure I said something about this earlier this week. When you have 10 laps to go in the truck race, and you go to a full screen caution, I hope the Fox executives are hearing this. When you go to with 10 laps to go, and you go to a full screen caution with 10 to go, you make us NASCAR fans want to shake you people. I don't know what the point of doing that is. It's the, climax of the race. You're getting down to crunch time, and you go to a full screen commercial. Somebody needs to slap them around a little because it's not registering. I mean, NASCAR listens to the fans. Why can't Fox? If they don't care, I mean, they advertised St. Petersburg. They advertised all the IndyCar events in the middle of the Daytona 500. They announced these, the Houston Grand Prix, the Freedom 250 they announced in the middle of the Daytona 500. We're not IndyCar. If you're going to care about IndyCar, go elsewhere. Have somebody buy out your contract and go focus on them. I mean, you can't be that insensitive. Like, you guys are a bunch of morons if you're going to advertise a different series so heavily during a competitive, a competitor series. I It makes me want to pull my hair out. How stupid that is.
Did you get it all out, Nathan?
No, the commercials are giving me gray hairs. I know I'm getting old, but good lord, it makes me want to pull my hair out with how many commercials they have.
You don't know
It's
nothing
the
about being
dumbest
old.
thing ever. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it anymore watching these NASCAR races. All these kids are my age.
So, anyway, moving on. Reddick utilized a critical push from teammate Riley Herbst to surge past Elliott coming off of turn 4 while the massive multi-car accident unfolded behind him. Now, he crossed the line ahead of former winners Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Joey Logano, while Bubba Wallace actually led a race-high 40 laps, and he ultimately finished 10th, while two-time and defending winner William Byron was collected in an early accident. So this victory also served as a symbolic turning point for the sport. And following the recent settlement of a high-profile federal lawsuit between 2311 and NASCAR. So I know you
The
said
amount of
NASCAR is going to be
times,
upset.
the amount of times NASCAR on Fox talked about this lawsuit pre-race should have been a sign, but I guess I overlooked that. But like the fact that Jamie Little, the nails on the chalkboard of NASCAR, literally did an interview with Michael Jordan at the 2311 Haulers about this lawsuit. I, I am shocked that made the air because it was kind of over and done with.
Let it
And
go.
yet we're still talking about it. I mean, they end up winning the race, but it's like it was over and done with. You're going to talk to the guy who essentially 2311 won that lawsuit. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And now you're going to put Michael Jordan on the screen, basically. I wouldn't even say, gloating about winning, but,
Put him on the hot seat.
put him on the hot seat, basically, after all this. Like, NASCAR in 2311 came to an agreement. Essentially, it went in 2311's favor when he comes down to it, they won the lawsuit. Basically, that's what it comes down to. But yet, you would think we'd want to put that in the past. No, we're going to hear about it, I guarantee, in Atlanta, because now that Tyler Reddick won the race, we're going to have to hear that after this lawsuit, 2311 went on to win the Daytona 500. Just let it go.
It's the same thing that every single year since it's happened, we have to hear about Dale Earnhardt. I am not trying to be disrespectful to the man whatsoever, but
I made the comments about it earlier too.
Let him rest, okay? I'm sure that Dale Jr. and the rest of the family don't want to be reminded of it every single Daytona 500.
It's always on lap 3. It's always on lap 3 they do it.
It's okay to mention the lap 3,
Yeah.
Salute, but they always have a big story about it on the pre-race shows, and it's time to let Dale rest.
I think the
Okay?
only reason that Fox is still in NASCAR is because they can hold that over NASCAR's head. They're the ones who, have the original copies of that crash. They have the original broadcast. If Fox ends up going to a different, if Fox and NASCAR split up, that NASCAR can no longer use Fox's, videos of that. And I think that's what's the only reason that Fox is here, is they have that leverage of, well, now that we're no longer part of NASCAR, you can no longer use the footage of the crash. And for some reason, and I still don't understand this to this day, 25 years later, we are still showing the same clip during the same race every year. You would think you'd only do it during special events. No, for the last 25 years, you could almost bet online that you were going to see a Dale Earnhardt Sr. clip during the Daytona 500. Not even just the lap 3 stuff. They do a whole documentary. I mean, they did we lost Dale Earnhardt this year. We had a Dale series. We have a Dale Prime, thing from last year. Like, the whole reason they brought Prime in is so they could do the Dale Earnhardt, storyline on Prime. That was a big advertising point. There's at least 3 years in a row we have talked about Dale Earnhardt during some sort of big documentary. In 2026, 2025, and in 2024, we've had something. Just let the man rest. Let the family have their peace.
And also the Greg Biffle stuff. Like, it was okay to do a story about it because it just happened, whatever, and they want to honor Greg Biffle.
That one I can understand.
Okay, that's fine. I get it. Do the one segment of it and then leave it alone. But no, they would do a segment and then 3 or 4 segments later they'd have to bring it all right back up again. Okay, we want to focus on the race today too. It's okay to honor the man because he was a good
To be
person.
fair,
He was a great person, and it just happened. So you haven't had a chance to honor him on the air yet. Okay, it's fine, but we don't have to keep every 3 segments bringing it back up.
Because I'm going to defend NASCAR a little bit with that because they had the 16 car. They had all the Roush Fenway Keselowski cars with that font. So I can kind of if they showed one of those cars on the screen, I could defend them for that. And the only one I saw was they did they did the little segment at the very beginning, and then they did lap 16 just like they did with Dale Earnhardt. Now, granted, I still question why they did both of them, but Dale Earnhardt is Dale Earnhardt. Greg Biffle, deserves a tribute lap also. But and we had 2 silent laps during that thing. Except I think Mike Joy talked the entire way through Greg Biffle's thing, reading off his stats. So, I mean, they did their segment pre-race. I understand that. If they're going to do a lap 16 tribute, that I can understand them doing that. I guess that makes sense. But, after that, I would say just, once you talk about the car, mention that they're running a font similar to Greg Biffle and be done with it. I don't think they need to replay it over and over again. They advertised the crap out of that we lost Dale Earnhardt thing during that race. Like, it's almost like beating a dead horse at that point. You're just literally beating this story into us. We know the story. Most of us watched it after the duels. We don't
watched it happen.
I wasn't even watching at the time. So that's, I saw it the first time with, on Thursdays when they played it. You don't need to advertise it during every single race for the next 4 days after that. Or 3 days, I guess. I counted wrong. But if you're going to advertise it, and then advertise it, maybe during the truck race and be done with it.
I guess I do have a few years on you when it comes to watching NASCAR, but
I think I started watching a few years after that. I think it was 2002, 2003 is when I watched my first race. On TV.
Actually, 17 at the time.
I think I started watching when I was 4 or 5. Maybe 6, because I was in kindergarten, I think. I don't remember a whole lot of anything around that time. If I'm not mistaken, I think my very first race I watched was it might have been the 2002 Talladega race. I have to go back and think if that was the same car I saw. All I remember is I saw Jeff Gordon with flames, and that's the car I remember. It was one with flames on it. That's all I remember.
There's only 2 Daytona 500s I even remember even the slightest bit about is the 2001 and the 2007.
Well, I don't know.
That's where Harvick got the closer nickname.
I still remember that Juan incident from 2012. That's still one of the most memorable Daytona 500s for me. That one little fire they had.
Oh yeah.
Yes, for people who aren't understanding the reference, Russ likes to send me the one big inferno from turn 3 every year. Almost every week, I think you send it to me at least once. Yeah, it's pretty funny anymore.
How many drivers can blow up a jet dryer?
Only one.
All
It
right.
never
Well,
gets old. Credit to Carl Edwards and Bob for the joke, because they're the ones who really beat that out on Radioactive. I love that joke.
so what do you think, Nathan? Is that it for NASCAR?
I still have 2 other races to get through.
All right,
We
let's
got the
keep
O'Rourke.
going.
The Truck
Let's move
Series race,
on.
I will say, was kind of chaotic. I mean, like I referred to earlier, nobody wanted to push anybody. We didn't actually have a big one, in my opinion, until the Cup race, and it was what, 5 laps to go. We had the big one. I think it's the first time we've gone through 4
I don't
races
know. The
and only
last
had
lap
one
was
big one.
pretty big.
Well, no, but I mean, like the truck race really didn't have a big one. They went 4 wide at the finish, but you really didn't have a huge, massive truck crash. I mean, Cletus McFarland wrecked, I think, on lap 6, which the memes that Garrett Mitchell and Cletus McFarland made just on that did NASCAR a lot of favors, because after with Ram coming into the sport, and they really didn't do that great. They weren't bad, but I mean, Minnie Tyrell, the winner of the Ram race for the seat, had to use a provisional to get into the field. Started 37th. Not ideal. Lap 6, Cletus McFarland wrecks. Maybe 20 laps later, we didn't even get out of stage 1, and Tony Stewart got wrecked by, I think, the 13 by Jake Garcia, I think it was. So basically the two big storylines are taken out of the race just like that before stage 1 is over. And honestly, the rest of the Truck Series race got kind of boring. But then when we get down to the race and nobody wanted to help each other, that's when it got crazy, because then everybody was just pushing everybody, give them a shot, shooting them out of the way. And that's how we got Chandler Smith, which I still can't fathom how he made that work, or how he didn't get blocked. For anybody who didn't see it, basically Chandler Smith rode the yellow line the entire way from turn 3, entered turn 3 in 6th place, and came off turn 4 and into the tri-oval in 1st. And somehow didn't have to block anybody, just held his line right along the double yellow, and nobody pulled down in front of him to block him. They all just, went to fight each other, and Chandler Smith snuck by, and then Ty Majeski, who's now in Matt Crafton's truck, finished, I think, 3rd or 4th out of that ordeal, and he was the one pushing Chandler Smith. The fastest fish in Daytona won the Truck Series race. And then, of course, you got, anger issues Austin Hill winning the O'Reilly Auto Parts race after they started off with a bang. I still haven't seen a good replay that tells me why they wrecked like that. I will say, and this is going to be a controversial one, I think Sam Mayer purposely did not use the brakes. I don't think he even tried to slow down. There was a crash towards the end of the race, I believe it was, where I think it was Ryan Sieg got sideways, ended up taking out a bunch of cars, and Sam Mayer just plows into, I forget who it was, goes down the track, and then essentially pulls a Danica Patrick and just drives straight across the track with a damaged car, never even thinks to stay out of traffic, just kind of makes a, lackluster attempt to get to the outside wall. And, I can't think of ladies now. Natalie something. Either way.
Natalie Decker.
Natalie Decker, that's what it was. Natalie Decker, basically has nowhere to go. I honestly, and I know people are going to, cry and moan about this, but honestly, I don't think Natalie was in the wrong. We know Sam Mayer for doing really stupid stuff on track. For example, Martinsville last year, wrecking a Jordan Anderson car. Not his brightest moment. And honestly, I don't feel any sympathy for him. He is a dumbass. Just a straight up, lack for no better terms, good used. He is just a dumbass. He is a
Does that make you
weapon
feel?
with a race car. What?
Is that how you really feel?
I really feel Sam Mayer does not belong out there. Yes, he won in junior motorsports equipment, but he is just a lousy driver outside of that equipment, and he really is just a weapon. He's going to get somebody hurt for being a dumbass. I mean, it's pretty obvious his wheels never stopped turning the entire way from the apron to the outside line where Natalie Decker had nowhere to go. Now, granted, Natalie Decker probably could have slowed down a little bit, but at the same time, she's not expecting Sam Mayer to just come waltzing back across the track and not try to, turn the car or anything. Because obviously he could have gotten out of the way.
Other than
And
that,
he
the
didn't.
only head Other than that, the only headline she made was taking that picture in her
Yeah.
bra with her fire suit
Yeah,
down. What the hell was that all
I,
about?
I still haven't quite understood the thought process behind that one. I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, to be fair, Bert Kreisner does the whole shirtless thing. That doesn't exactly mean that you need to take the top of your fire suit off for that. But I mean,
I mean,
she's young.
I would have thought she wore a Nomex shirt underneath the fire suit. To be honest with
I
you,
I would have thought, or even some sort of like I don't know, crop top, something Nomex crop top, something that doesn't show that. I mean, it was just straight fire suit, skin in a bra. Like I don't understand. Whoever her PR team is needs gone through or cleaned out because that was probably
it's,
the dumbest
that's
thing I've ever seen. And that was in
it's
public. That wasn't even during a photo shoot. That is straight up, general public. Fans could have been anywhere around her at the time of that photo. The last time I've seen something that stupid in public was the 10 car from years ago.
that's the only way she can get any attention. Just like Danica Patrick doing all them GoDaddy modeling shoots and in them skippy
But
outfits and stuff.
there's
I
a
mean?
difference. Danica Patrick did that for photo shoots. Natalie Decker was dumb enough to do it in person. And I still can't wrap my head around that one. Like,
What,
of all the places to do that, you do that in a public setting with a bunch of drunk fans. You're like, what, 150 pounds soaking wet? Like,
well,
I can't even wrap my head around that.
from what
Like,
I
that was the
understand, is,
dumbest thing I've ever seen.
from what I understand, she's an OnlyFans model anyway. So what does it really
She's
matter? Like
also,
she
she's
cares.
also, I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm surprised the other
But
ones.
still, I mean, it's not the place
I'm
to do it.
keeping my mouth shut on that because there is so much that I disagree
Yeah,
with that.
let's just move to the
I'm
next
going to
one.
gloss over that one. But, I mean, the O'Reilly Auto Parts series really wasn't bad. Just same as Truck Series race. Nobody wanted to push each other. They all wanted to fight for themselves. And that's how Austin Hill won. Austin Hill came down for new tires. He started, I think, 16th. And in one lap, he had cut that in half and was in like top 10. Excuse me. And then he was, second place, pushed his teammate, and just was in the lead before anybody knew what was going on. Nobody wanted to play defense. They all wanted to play offense. Everybody wanted to push everybody, push them, get themselves in the front without working together. There was no teamwork involved whatsoever, which was surprising that nobody thought to do that. And like I said before, the most organized teams out of the entire organized make out of the entire weekend was Ford. Chevy really didn't get anything going. Toyota doesn't have enough drivers to get anything going. I mean, a good example of not working together, they had two Nitro Motorsports cars leading the ARCA race, and they wrecked each other out for the win. Which is Nitro Motorsports is the new Venturini Motorsports. They wrecked each other for the win. They took each other out. First and second took each other out for the win with, like, I don't know, green, white, checkered. Like, you can't be that dumb. Teamwork is what it takes. You get to the white flag and you wreck, that's another story. We had more problems with people wrecking each other before overtime than we did in overtime itself. Well, I think we had one overtime all weekend, and it was the ARCA race. I don't think we even got an overtime finish in the truck series. Nobody wanted to push anybody there. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, I think, went green to the finish. I don't think they had an overtime. I was looking to see. I mean, I can't figure that one out. Like, how do you, you know, how do you have that poor of teamwork throughout an entire weekend? I mean, shout out to Cletus McFarland. I will give him credit. He was so down in the dumps after the Truck Series race, only getting 6 laps. He was like top 5 the majority of that ARCA race. The jack breaks. He's a lap down. He finally gets back on the lead lap with like 10 laps to go. He finished that race 11th. He started like 20th, or I think it was like 28th or something. He started way back in the field. He managed to get to 11th. I think they said he passed 8 cars on the last lap. Like, the dude literally was a rocket ship. If it weren't for the fact that the jack broke and put him a lap down, he probably could have very easily been in contention at the end of this race. So I'm kind of excited to see how he does at, Talladega or whatever his next race is in the ARCA series. But Cletus McFarland, Garrett Mitchell has definitely improved from what I thought he was going to be. I thought it was just going to be all content stuff. I mean, the fact that he missed 3 wrecks and you could hear him over the motor on the onboard was pretty hilarious. That was probably the greatest part of that entire sequence, was him screaming over the motor. I mean, it gives me reminders of what I do, which is I get emotional, but that was pretty funny. So I just a roller coaster of emotions this weekend. I'm still pissed at Fox for their lack of effort. I'm happy for Chandler Smith. Not even 24 hours later, he didn't make the Daytona 500 field, but he wins the Truck Series race. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing Austin Hill's name winning at Daytona, and the lack of teamwork throughout the entire garage. And then you got the sequence of events that went on for the Daytona 500, from lawsuit talks to people driving over each other to 2311 winning their first Daytona 500 and Bubba Wallace being butthurt because he didn't win, because this was his year to win.
Well, you see, they made sure that they ran right to Bubba Wallace to do an interview, right?
Well, it doesn't help that he went out in the infield and was on his knees crying. There's a photo of him standing in the infield, basically sitting on his heels crying that he came so close, while it shows his teammate in the background celebrating. I mean, let's not forget, 2311 put 3 cars in the top 10 of the Daytona 500 this year. 3 of them. 1 won the race, 1 finished 8th, and 1 finished, I think, 10th. And yet, the only driver who was basically having a tantrum was Bubba Wallace. I mean, I hate being that guy, but dude, drama just follows him. And if not, he makes it. He makes the headlines about him. That is a really piss-poor teammate, in my opinion. I would have been trucking it across the infield to go celebrate with my teammate. He was there for you when you won your first race. Why were you not there for him? I mean, you went to victory lane, but you had to have MJ hanging over your shoulder for words of encouragement. Dude, your team just did a monumental thing. Be happy for your team and not butthurt for yourself. Heck, Riley Herbst, who basically his daddy funds his car, was there before Bubba Wallace even was. And Corey Heim, who isn't even part of the team full-time, was there basically celebrating Tyler Reddick before Bubba was. That's pretty bad. I mean, team owner Denny Hamlin, I think, was there before Bubba was. Bubba was so butthurt that he didn't win this year, when he's been in the sport for how many years, has 2 second-place finishes. Tyler Reddick really doesn't even have that many good finishes. I mean, I think he finished 2nd last year. It's not like it's been that long since he's been up front. Bubba Wallace has multiple second-place finishes, so he knows what it's like to be close. Why cry over it? Like
it just wasn't meant to be,
It's just like it is with Kyle Larson every year. It's not meant to be, which, to be fair, his stats don't really back him up anyway. Sorry. I had to throw that out there. I will say the only graphic that I really found interesting during that broadcast was the whole past champions and their best finish. There are three of them that have second place finishes. I forget who it was at the third. The only one who had the worst, best finish out of all of them was Kyle Larson. It was seventh. I thought that was a very interesting fact that everybody else has a second or third. I think Kyle Busch was the one who had a third place finish for his best finish. Everybody else had second. You had, Brian Blaney, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski. All these guys have second place finishes in the Daytona 500.
Speaking of Ryan Blaney, man, that mustache has got to go.
Did that? I forget who they said he looked like in the broadcast, but I tried to look it up. And honestly, he looks like the Pringles guy. That is the bushiest mustache. Ryan, I think Penske's race drivers are having a identity crisis. You've got Mr. Clean Logano. You've got Austin Cindric, who he looks like a mime from Paris. He just doesn't seem like he fits. And then you got Ryan Blaney with the squirrel on his face. I can't even call it caterpillar because it's way bigger than a caterpillar. That thing looks like he looks like what's the guy from the Dr. Seuss thing, the orange guy, not the Hobbit. I can't think what his name is, but the orange guy.
I know what you're talking about,
but like his mustache literally looks like the guy from Horton Hears a Who. Like, dude, shave the thing off. You look like a creeper. I mean, I hate saying he looks like a pedophile. It's terrifying. I hate that mustache. It's the weirdest thing ever.
I wouldn't have went that far, but okay.
No, it's bad. I can't even look at Ryan Blaney the same with that mustache. The dude does not need to have a mustache that big.
I thought the beard was bad.
The beard isn't much better. And that ranks up there also. But I mean, his just regular season mustache looked okay. This one just does not belong. It is not Ryan Blaney's best look. By all means, it's probably the worst one I've seen. The beard was bad. I mean, to be fair, the mask one was the funniest look at all of them, trying to drink through the mask. But still, the dude with the handlebar mustaches was pretty bad, but it was also pretty epic. That was one of his better looks. But the mustache, just the regular squirrel-looking mustache, is just, it's got to go. He's got to shave that before Atlanta. I guarantee he'll be way more aerodynamic because he is just hideous with that mustache. And I'm sure Joey Logano, the only reason he finished third is because he's got no wind resistance. I will make fun of him till the day he grows his hair back. Because, dude, he looks weird, like a bald guy. Like, his head doesn't even... I hate making fun of Joey Logano because I know that we have fans on here who are Joey Logano fans. But, oh my goodness, his head looks like an egg. It doesn't even look round to me. It looks like the guys from Spy Kids with got like the thumbs for their heads. Like, it's terrifying. Penske's race team is just having an identity crisis. No other team has this big of issue except them. That's my opinion on it. I got on a tangent there, but that just drives me nuts.
Well, if you're all finished, Nathan, I'll move on to what I got to do.
I think I finally got it all out of my system. I just...
All right, so I'll move over to the world of Outlaws now. And I'll start with the Schatz CJB Motorsports alignment. So after an 18-year tenure with Tony Stewart Racing that actually yielded 10 championships and nearly 300 victories, Donny Schatz moved over to CJB Motorsports for the 2026 season. This transition followed a tumultuous 2025 season where Schatz was released from TSR following the Knoxville Nationals, subsequently piloting entries for 4 different owners to finish the year. The alignment with CJB Motorsports, a Pennsylvania-based team owned by Chad and Anne Marie Clemens, represents a reset for the 48-year-old veteran. Critically, Schatz was reunited with crew chief Barry Jackson. The synergy between Schatz and Jackson is a focal point of the 2026 season, as Jackson has previously found success with high profile drivers such as David Gravel and Spencer Bayston. Observers noted that while the pairing was formidable, the challenge lies in improving Schatz's qualifying performance, which has actually hindered his ability to compete for wins despite elite race day speed. So I think it's a good pairing. He's doing really well. And, I wish him the best. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot yet. So, I mean, I can't really get into it a whole lot.
We'll wait and see.
But so, something I noticed with Anthony Macri, um, he is actually back representing the Pennsylvania Posse as an independent powerhouse and entered 2026 with a notable change in the car's aesthetic and commercial backing. While Macri retained the services of crew chief Joe Mooney, a move cited as vital for the team's continuity, I should say. The 39M machine appeared without its long-term primary sponsors, C&D Rigging and Whitecap. The absence of these corporate logos on a car that was arguably the fastest of the week highlights the difficult economic realities of modern sprint car racing today. For an independent team to consent to the full World of Outlaws schedule, which spans over 80 races across the continent, the lack of primary sponsors creates significant pressure on the team's ability to maintain a high-end engine program and logistical infrastructure. So hopefully he can get some more backing, but we'll see. And my opening night analysis, well, the 2026 DIRTcar Nationals actually opened on Wednesday with an event designated as non-points for the World of Outlaws champion or World of Outlaws sprint cars. The designation became a central point of the contention among enthusiasts and participants alike, as the race actually featured the full series roster and standard prize money. The most consequential event of the opening night was a mid-race collision involving defending champion David Gravel and Logan Schuchart. Gravel, driving for Big Game Motorsports again this year, was positioned in third and attempting to transition from the bottom of the track to the cushion, as Schuchart, carrying momentum in the high lane, misjudged the gap and actually made contact with the rear of Gravel's car. So that's actually sent David Gravel spinning, and the impact made him hit the front stretch wall pretty hard and destroyed the car. So under the championship rules, this actually would have resulted in a significant points deficit for the title favorite. But however, because Wednesday was a non-points race, Gravel was able to reset for the remainder of the weekend without a penalty in the standings. This led to criticism that the non-points format protects top teams from their mistakes, undermining the stakes of the season opener. So, moving on to Spencer Bayston's return to victory lane, the focus was on the gravel incident. While the focus was on the gravel incident, Spencer Bayston utilized the opening night to validate his new partnership with Stenhouse Jr. Marshall Racing. Bayston, starting from the 10th position, navigated the high-speed traffic with precision, and actually claimed his first victory at Volusia Speedway Park and his sixth career World of Outlaws win. The performance of Garrett Williamson on Wednesday was also noteworthy. Williamson, actually piloting the Fisher Motorsports number 23, earned the Hard Charger Award by advancing from the 26th starting position to finish 8th. This massive 18-car gain suggested the sophomore driver actually found a setup capable of high-speed progression, though he would actually struggle to replicate this performance in the subsequent points-paying features. So, moving on to Friday, well, that was a statement for Buddy Kofoid following a total rain out of the schedule on Thursday. So, the series resumed on Friday, February 6th, for the first official points-paying night of the year. This event was defined by the dominance of Michael Buddy Kofoid and the Roth Motorsports number 83. Kofoid's tactical mastery, well, he entered the season with questions surrounding his consistency at Volusia, which was actually a track where he actually previously had top 10 results in only half of his appearances. On Friday, though, Kofoid secured the outside front row starting spot and immediately took command of the 25 lap feature. Kofoid's primary challenge came from David Gravel, who actually returned to the track in a newly built kit car following his Wednesday wreck. Gravel reeled in Kofoid during the middle stages of the race, but Kofoid demonstrated veteran level composure in traffic. A critical moment actually occurred with 2 laps remaining when Kofoid executed a 3-wide maneuver between slower cars to clear the traffic that was impeding his momentum, effectively sealing the win. So great! It was a great run by Buddy Kofoid. It was real close race. It was good. It was fun to watch. And you don't know what you missed out on, Nathan. You like to bash all of us dirt guys now. I'm just
I don't
funny,
know.
like.
I don't know. You still have one story I'm waiting to see if you're going to cover, because I do have one dirt story that you haven't covered yet. You
But
know where I'm going with this.
this victory actually marked Kofoid's 23rd career win and significantly placed him at the top of the World of Outlaws Championship standings for the first time in his career. So, hey, good job to Buddy. Friday night also highlighted the continued race day efficiency of Donny Schatz. Starting 21st for the second consecutive feature, Schatz utilized the bottom of the racetrack to actually pass 15 cars to come up and finish 6th. While the 15-car gain earned him a hard charger honor, it underscored a persistent strategic flaw. Schatz's average starting position of 21 across the first 2 features necessitated superhuman efforts just to reach the top 5. In the modern world of Outlaws era, winning from the back of the pack is increasingly rare due to the refinement of the aerodynamic packages that allow lead cars to pull away in clean air. And moving over to Saturday, well, that was actually a last lap duel for the Big Gator. So Saturday actually carried the highest stakes of the week with a $20,000 to win prize and the Big Gator Championship trophy on the line. Heading into Saturday, Buddy Kofoid and Carson Macedo were the primary contenders for the Big Gator title based on their points accumulation over the previous nights. But, however, Kofoid's qualifying session was disastrous, forcing him to start 21st in the feature. Macedo started 12th, while Anthony Macri actually secured the 4th starting position. The starting grid actually gave Macri a mathematical advantage for the trophy if he could secure a podium finish. Macri took the lead on the 7th lap by driving around Brian Brown, and for much of the race, Macri appeared to have the field covered and maintained a healthy gap over the rest of them. However, David Gravel, continuing his relentless form, cleared the traffic and began to cut into Macri's lead as the track surface changed. Well, it was pretty intense, and you you wouldn't believe that last lap, Nathan.
Oh, I wish I knew.
Oh, you would have loved it. I mean, I got to get you watching more dirt races, man.
There's only one subscription. I gotta share with you like you gotta share mine.
That's not my subscription. I don't own that.
Well, either
I
way.
use somebody else's. So, I mean, hey, I can't complain about that, right?
Yep.
But anyway, moving on. The race reached a crescendo on the final lap as Macri exited turn 4 to take the white flag. He was held up by the lap car of Chase Dietz. Gravel took advantage of the momentum break and threw a slide job in turn 1, and he took the lead away as they entered the backstretch. Macri's response was a high-risk diamond line maneuver. Rather than following David's arc, Macri squared the car up in the center of the corner, and it allowed him to build massive exit speed down the back straightaway. He drove his 39M between the inside wall and Dietz's lap car and reclaimed the lead as they entered turn 3. And Macri held off Gravel's final lunge to win the race and the Big Gator Championship. So, the 2026 rookie class. This was actually heralded as one of the most talented in recent history. featuring drivers with extensive backgrounds in midgets, 360 sprints, and asphalt. Quite impressive. However, the Volusia weekend served as a stark reminder of the difficulty inherent in transitioning to the World of Outlaws Tour. The performance of the rookies at Volusia was largely characterized by struggles in qualifying and inability to maintain track position in heavy air. Ashton Torgerson was the standout among the newcomers, actually recording a 9th place finish on Wednesday and consistently qualifying within the top half of the field. Emerson Axum, he was actually the 2026 Chili Bowl champion, showed flashes of speed, but his best finish of the week was 11th on Wednesday. On the points-paying nights, though, Axum kind of struggled with mechanical consistency and suffered DNFs. Scotty Thiel earned Rookie of the Race honors on Friday, but struggled with finishing results of 19th and 21st in the 2 main events he qualified for. And Garrett Williamson actually earned a stellar hard charger run on Wednesday, and his weekend took a downward turn and actually failed to make the feature on Friday and only returned to form on Saturday with a 6th place finish. So a little bad luck there, a little hard start to the year for him, but he'll get there. I've watched Garrett race. He's not a bad driver. But the consensus among the industry experts is that while these drivers possess the raw talent to win races, the Volusia learning curve is uniquely steep. The high-speed aerodynamic wash makes it difficult for inexperienced drivers to judge the closing distances, often resulting in conservative driving that loses track position. And they got a lot to learn. But despite the non-point status of the opening night, the results from Friday and Saturday established a clear hierarchy for the 2026 title chase. Due to the inverse results of Friday and Saturday, Kofoid winning Friday and finishing 4th Saturday, and Gravel finishing 2nd on both nights, the championship standings exited Volusia in a deadlock at the top. Buddy Kofoid and David Gravel are tied with 292 points each, with Carson Macedo trailing by just 4 points after 3 consecutive top 5s. Carson Macedo, I should say, because Cole's was racing too. But Carson Macedo remains within striking distance, trailing by only 4 points, and his performance was perhaps one of the most resilient of the week. He actually continues to recover from a significant leg injury he sustained the previous year, and his ability to record 3 consecutive top 5 finishes at one of the most physically demanding tracks on the schedule actually indicates that the Jason Johnson Racing number 41 will be a perennial threat for the 2026 title. So the impact, though, of the non-points designation, taking a deeper look at the point structure reveals the safety net provided by Wednesday being a non-points event. Now, had Wednesday counted toward the championship, David Gravel would likely be trailing Kofoid and Macedo by a significant margin due to the DNF. Critics of the current format argue that this undermines the integrity of the season-long points battle, noting that prestigious races like the Kings Royal and the Knoxville Nationals manage formats where every competitive lap contributes to the overall outcome. For Gravel, the ruling was a reprieve that allowed him to maintain his momentum as he seeks a three-peat championship. So it's, I don't know, my opinion on that. It's a tough call. I mean, you got to give him some time to, shake the dust off of things, but also I can see it the other way, but I won't get into that right now. But I'll actually get into some mechanical analysis, though. The tire management and track surface chemistry. So the progression of the Volusia track surface across 2026 provided a case study in mechanical adaptation. There was a transition from heavy to slick. Early in the residency, or the event, the track was described as heavy, meaning the clay actually retained high moisture content. It actually provided immense grip, but also taxing on the engines and cooling systems. By the Saturday finale, the surface had actually transitioned to a slick-to-the-wall condition, and in this state, the moisture actually evaporates from the lower grooves, forcing drivers to run inches from the concrete wall on the outside just to find traction. The diamond line utilized by Anthony Macri was only possible because the bottom of the track had actually cleaned up enough to provide a momentary burst of acceleration as long as the car was pointed straight. This requires a specific torsion bar setup that allows the rear of the car to actually squat and deliver power to the rear tires without inducing excessive wheel spin. Engine longevity at Volusia is notoriously tough on engines. The 410 engines are actually held at a maximum RPM for a higher percentage of the lap than at almost any other track. During the 2026 event, several teams reported elevated water and oil temperatures, necessitating larger radiator intakes, which in turn disrupted the aerodynamic efficiency of the front wing. The balance between the engine cooling and aerodynamic downforce is the silent battle fought by crew chiefs like Joe Mooney and Barry Jackson during the DIRTcar Nationals. Now, the historical significance and win lists. Well, the victories by Baston, Kofoid, and Macri actually carried historical weight, reshuffling the all-time World of Outlaws win list. Macri, his 8th career win moved him into a tie for 58th all-time with Jimmy Sills and Cody Dara. Buddy Kofoid, his 23rd win, actually brought him within one of Hall of Famer Ron Schumann. Spencer Baston, his 6th career win solidified his place among the top echelon of active drivers and marked a successful debut for his stint with the Stenhouse Junior Marshall Racing organization. And the Big Gator trophy itself has become one of the most coveted prizes in the sport since its introduction in 2012. Anthony Macri became the 9th different driver to win the title, joining a list that includes legends like David Gravel and Darren Pittman, who each own 3 of the Reptilian trophies. But the future outlook goes beyond the Sunshine State. After the season opener at Volusia Speedway Park provided a representative sample of a championship battle to come, we've got Buddy Kofoid and David Gravel actually leaving the track as the statistical leaders, and the underlying data suggests that several key narratives will define the spring months. So we're going to have a good one on our hands. I really think this is going to be a battle this year. But the qualifying wall, I go back, I missed this, so I'm going to go back to this. But the qualifying wall for Donny Schatz. Donny Schatz moved over to that CJB Motorsports car this year, and he has successfully revitalized his race day performance. But the qualifying deficit remains a critical barrier. In 3 features at Volusia, Schatz gained a total of 40 positions, an average of 13.3 per race. If the Schatz-Jackson pairing could find a way to qualify inside the top 10, Schatz will immediately become the favorite to win features. But until then, the plus-minus lead remains a hollow victory for the 10-time champion seeking his first win since 2024. Now, Anthony Macri's victory at Volusia proved he is currently a top 5 talent in winged sprint car racing. However, his long-term viability as a championship contender depends on securing a primary sponsor to replace the departed C&D rigging and white cap. The 2026 residency showed that Macri can win the Big Gator with an under-sponsored car, but the grueling 80-race tour will actually test the limits of his independent operation. And my key takeaways from the 2026 Volusia opener actually confirm that the championship will likely revolve around the big 3: Gravel, Carson Macedo, and Buddy Kofoid. These 3 drivers were the only participants to finish in the top 5 in both points-paying features. Their abilities to maximize points even on nights where they struggle such as Kofoid's tactical 21st to 4th run on Saturday, is the hallmark of a championship team. But the championship deadlock was as the season opens with a literal tie at the top between Kofoid and Gravel. Well, that's 292 points each. Tyler Reddick's 2026 historical Daytona 500 win was a magic moment for 2311 and Michael Jordan. And the posse will prevail as Anthony Macri's Big Gator win secures a major $20,000 victory for the Pennsylvania posse against the national tour. And a veteran reset, well, Donny Schatz is charged through the field 40 plus positions, plus 40 plus positions across 3 nights, proves his race day speed is still elite, though qualifying remains his primary hurdle. So, I mean, it was amazing what Schatz did. And I'll just leave it at that because I could go on and on and on. But anything to add, Nate?
You forgot one major story.
What's that?
There happens to be one major orange-haired cat that is coming out part-time.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't getting to that yet.
Oh, you're no fun.
Go ahead, I don't care.
Well, conveniently enough, last year we lost Brad Sweet to full-time racing. But all of a sudden, hold the phone. Stop the presses. Brad Sweet is coming back part-time with no other than Kyle Larson's car owner, Paul Silva. Convenient? I think not. So I thought that was a major DIRTcar announcement, which, to be fair, I know nothing about DIRTcar racing. I'm surprised you didn't say that one. But in other breaking news, and I was unaware of this up until earlier today, and I forgot about it earlier. Excuse me. Jimmy Johnson has announced that his 2027 Daytona 500 will be his final Daytona 500 start, or his final NASCAR race. So, I mean, it's not 2027 yet, but Jimmy has had a very well decorated NASCAR career. So I think it is a good time to, hang it up. He hasn't really done a whole lot since retiring from full time.
His career was only decorated because of Chad Knaus.
I mean, that's fair. But
yeah, once Chad Knaus left that team, his performance went way down.
Oh, I think he left as his crew chief.
Well, yeah, he left the
Chad Knaus
he left the 48 team, but he became the competition director or whatever in Hendrick Motorsports. And he's still there.
Yeah, I think it is a smart move on Jimmy's part because, the 42 and 43, their performance has picked up. Granted, it wasn't a whole lot today, but I can't really say a whole lot because John Hunter Nemechek was in the thick of it until he got wrecked at the very end of that race. So I honestly think it is a good move on Jimmy's part to focus more on the team and less on him racing. And I think him stepping back from racing entirely is going to benefit the Legacy Motor Club's performance in the long run. And I think it's a smart move. I mean, this is his last year for people to come out, so it's kind of his, retirement tour, I guess we'll call it 2.0, because he's only going to get one race next year. And everybody's going to want to go to Daytona 500 for that race. So unless NASCAR announces some other, race in downtown, El Cajon or whatever it is that he lives in, unless they're going to announce a street course right up the road in Jimmy Johnson's hometown, 2027 is Daytona 500 is Jimmy Johnson's last NASCAR race. So that was all I could come up with off the top of my head.
Well, Nathan, I think that's going to do it for this episode, man.
Until after post Atlanta, we'll see you then.
All right. Well, it's been fun, but remember, we bring you race recaps, professional breakdowns, and all those insane, adrenaline-packed moments every week. Whether you live for those sideways, mudslinging, dirt track sliders, or the door-banging, paint-treating action in NASCAR, you belong right here. Hit that subscribe button now so you never miss a finish. And until next time, keep switching grooves. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
And we're saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night.
Good night, everybody.